Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summer channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 2nd of September. Today we have some updates, so let's start. Today is the 5th day of the Ukrainian counter-offensive operation in the south of Kherson, of Ukraine, in the Kherson district. As you can see, there are a lot of icons. That means that there is something there, but I must say that most of these icons means the Ukrainian losses and the attack of the Russians. If we're talking about the north part, there are just 3 icons, meaning that the Ukrainians were trying to attack some area in the south, trying to destroy the Russian support lines like Avdiivka Bridge, like Novokakhovka Bridge. The Russians are saying that they managed to cut a few HIMARS rockets in this area and so on. If we're talking about the front line, the Ukrainians didn't get any square kilometer in this area. They were defeated all along the front line. Furthermore, there were some cases and video improvements that some forces in the south, like this area, the Ukrainians surrendered in this area. They were raising the white flag, begging for help and so on. If we're talking about progress in this area, the main area where the Ukrainians were trying to attack is the bridgehead between Bilogorka, Andreevka, Lazova, in this area. Let's take a look at the Western sources map for these purposes. This year where the Ukrainians were trying to attack, if you remember, first during the previous day they were trying to attack Bruskinska, this area, but some sources were saying that they managed to establish control over the west part of this town. But today we got a lot of confirmation that the Russians managed to return this town back and to push the Ukrainians. After that, the Ukrainians were trying to attack in direction of the south, trying to attack all the towns all along their attack line, trying to attack Kostramka, trying to attack Shestleva, but they were defeated in this area as well. They couldn't establish control over this town. So after that, the Ukrainians, the forces that were developing offensive operation on this bridgehead, took small town by the name Bezimenne. This one. This is a very small town. This one. Let's take a look at the Russian sources map. As you can see, there is no even title of this town on this map. Just if we zoom in, we're gonna see this small village. This is the only progress that Ukrainians managed to achieve during this day, and I don't know why, but maybe because of they were so happy of that, they moved a lot of tanks, a lot of infantry in this area, trying to establish their position, their fortification, trying to develop, increase their foothold in this area. But the Russians, as soon as they understood that there were a lot of Ukrainians, they sent their Su-34 aircrafts and they bombed this area. The Russians are saying that they dropped something around 20 FAP-500 bombs, and the Russians military experts left just one comment about this town. They're saying that there is no more town on the global map, this small Bezimenne town. And also they're saying that there are no more Ukrainians and there are armored vehicles in this town as well. So as you see, the Ukrainians continue receiving more and more damage, more and more losses during this counter-offensive operation. But some sources are saying that they're not planning to stop. They're moving more and more infantry, more and more armored vehicles. As you see, there are still a lot of time before 8th of September. So that means that Ukrainians need to keep the active phase of offensive operation till that date. So that means that they're going to have more and more losses. Furthermore, the Russians managed to establish their position in Vysokopolye, Nolgina, stable position. The situation is stable. Furthermore, today we got some updates that the Russians were even started their own counter-offensive operation on this bridgehead, trying to attack Potemkina. So as you can see, on some part of the front lines, the Russians managed to turn the situation in their favor and they started their own offensive operation. If we're talking about the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation, they give us a lot of numbers from this area. And the most important is that there is a small town, Bereznikovata, this is the back. And if you take a look at the map of this position, you're gonna see that this area is on the responsibility of 17th Tank Brigade. The Ukrainians moved a lot of forces in this area, and this is their main support area where they were taking more and more tanks, and then they're moving these tanks in direction of Davudbrod and this bridgehead. And the Russians are saying that as a result of attack, This brigade lost up to 10 armored vehicles in this area. That's a lot. Furthermore, the Russians attacked the warehouse near Belokranitsa. Also, this is the town that located on the Ukrainian bridgehead that they managed to develop in this area. And as a result of that attack, the Russians destroyed the warehouse of Ukrainians, this is the icon, and also they killed up to 40 soldiers in this area. Furthermore, at the same area, they destroyed up to 2 headquarters, one headquarters located in Belokranitsa and another one in small town Artakova, this one. If we're talking about other forces in this area, the Russians shelled heavily the area between Dobryanka and Novovorontsovka. These fields, mainly 60th Mechanized Brigade got under fire. This one motorized brigade got under fire, and as a result of this attack, this brigade lost up to 45 soldiers. And that's it about this front line. I don't know what the Ukrainians are planning to develop during this weekend. Anyway, as you can see, the Russians managed to stop this situation and managed to turn Ukraine offensive operation into disaster for the Ukrainians. I don't think that it's a very good idea to develop this offensive operation, because the locals are saying that there's big lines of cars that transferring the wounded people in direction of Nikolaev, Odessa. Some sources are saying that some of the very soldiers who's very bad soldiers, I'm talking about their wounds, are transferred in direction of Moldova, Romania, and even Poland. So this situation about Kherson. Another important updates are coming from Donetsk district. As you can see, the Western sources map are showing us these AK-47, showing us that the Russians are trying to develop their offensive operation in all directions. But the Russians are saying that as soon as the Russians got this town entirely, Pesky, and they took these bridges, 2 bridges, now this area is under total Russian control, they will do a small regroup. It will take for a while, something up to 1 week, and after that the Russians are planning to develop their offensive operation in direction of Vodyanoe, Opytne, Первомайskaya, Nivolskaya, and Krasnogorovka, in these directions, because they managed to take the most powerful fortification. Furthermore, if we're talking about Shoigu, the Minister of Defense, he mentioned this town during his meeting, so that means that this town is very important, no matter that this town is very small. And if we're talking about this area, the Russians are saying that, if we take a look at the map of this position, there is 110th Defense Brigade in this area, and the Russians are saying that during the combat, during the battles for this week and the previous week, this battalion, this group decided to leave their position. So there are cases of desertion. So I suppose that this brigade was fighting in the Pesky, maybe in this bridge. So, and because of heavy losses, they were forced and they just decided to leave. So I suppose if they did this, that means that maybe the Russians will take more territory in this area because of undefended positions by the Ukrainians. Another important update are coming from this 56th Mechanized Brigade. The Russians are saying that during these days, during these 24 previous hours, they attacked this brigade, and this brigade lost up to 49 soldiers, including officers and so on. Other front lines are stable. The Russians are trying to attack all along the front line. As you can see, there is a small operational pause on the Zelensky defense line between Seversk and Bakhmut. The Russians are trying to attack in direction of Bakhmut. There is local fights in the town, on the east side of this town. Furthermore, there are still heavy clashes on the west side of Kadima. The Ukrainians still keep this area, or maybe they are able just to send reinforcement, and maybe there is the battle just on the line of the west side of Kadima. Furthermore, the Russians are still trying to attack Zaitsevo and Veselaya Dolina, but they're not pressing much, because there are a lot of updates and a lot of things are coming from the south, from Kherson area. So from some point of view, these guys have some time to relax, to get some hours to take their time to reinforce, to bring more equipment, and so on. If we're talking about Slavics, the front line is stable. If we're talking about the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, they're saying that today there were storm operation from the Russians in direction of Novogusarovka. Maybe it was some kind of recon combat. I think that was recon combat because the Russians, when we discussed that many times during the previous day, that more and more updates are coming from Kharkiv area, that there are a lot of armored vehicles and equipment that were hid by the Ukrainians in this area. So the Russians just need to understand if it's true. They need to find out the real position of the Ukrainians. As you can see, according to this map, there are a lot of icons of rocket attack, of shelling and artillery shelling and so on. And if we take a look at the Russian sources map, there are also a lot of updates. There was like destroyed warehouses, and the Russians, the Ukrainians also were captured, few of them. And furthermore, the Russians are storming this in the direction of Kharkiv as well, trying to manipulate the front line and to understand where the Ukrainians have their position. And there is no more updates. The situation is stable, we could say, critical but stable. I suppose that everybody count their losses, and the only place where there are still very hot is the area around Fusakopolye. But as I told you, the situation there is also stable, and the Ukrainians couldn't crack this nut. So I suppose that they will try to find another solution. But I will repeat myself that more and more sources are saying that Ukrainians collect more forces in the south, and they are saying that they will continue their offensive operation in this area because, as I remember, somewhere months ago, some sources, Russian intelligence sources, provided information that Ukrainians prepared few scenarios of like successful media victory in Ukraine. The first one was counter-offensive operation in the South Ukraine, near Kherson area. That was the first case. The second case that I read like maybe a month ago was the case of returning of power plant, but these two cases failed. The Ukrainians were defeated into this operation. And the third case was to liberate the Kharkiv district, this one. So that was the third case, and like Zelensky marked these three goals, three things as the main goals for the Ukrainian army. And I suppose that sooner or later we are going to see the third case when the Ukrainians will try to continue liberating of the Kharkiv district. So let's see. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good evening. Thank you. Bye bye.